we make it clear that we're just talking in general. I think you're excellent, love you, and I just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
I was just about to think you hate women, Shiba. Okay.
Huh?
I thought you hate women. When
I know this is your topic.
I hate men. I hate men. You know, all that good stuff. Yeah. But I wanted to put that out there just in case anybody confused that. So I forgot what the hell I was going to say. Let me pass the mic.
Good.
All right. So let me get in here real quick. I got a question. Are any women on the panel willing to give a common scenario? If we are mature enough here, all right, are you willing to give a common scenario in which women do regress and behave like children?
Silent treatment. That's one.
Slamming cabinets.
Inability to communicate. Yeah.
The one Lucky said, the first one is probably the worst one. Men are supposed to do silent treatment. Women aren't supposed to do silent treatment.
So if I could answer as a woman, most kids become verbal. That I know. When I'm talking about children, when you think about kids do not become silent. That's why we call it a temper tantrum. So when a woman, to me, steps back, I think that's a very healthy notion, depending on the woman.
What age range would you say I'm just in general when we talking about kids, because I'm thinking of minors, so I wasn't just thinking of toddlers, because silent treatment, you know, when you get to a certain age,
teenagers from whatever. I won't say about 5 to teens, because I hear a lot of parents say it when their kids become teens. I can't get them to say a word to me.
The age is talking about, I would say something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because Mr. Let Go introduced that argument about women being children, not the women. We didn't introduce that.
Yeah.
So most women, some women do behave like children. Some do. I'm not going to say all, but some do. So you are absolutely correct, but not all. Some people just don't have the skills in that moment, and we refuse to give them the space. Not just women. Some of y'all refuse to give men the space. Men be trying to leave. I think everybody needs to mute up because we have an echo. Some men, you'll hear men say, I tried to leave. She scratched me. She did this. She did that. Or blah, 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 right? And that's still on a woman. And also men do childish stuff, or men do what they know. So I think we all revert to doing what we know. Is it childlike? I'm going to say toxic behaviors. I'm not going to say childlike behaviors, because if it were childlike, we wouldn't have murder, suicides, domestic violence, because kids don't beat their parents.
If they could, they would.
If they could, they would.
But I'm just saying the reality of it is they don't. Some do at certain ages, or they take them out. But when we think about the reality of it, it's just toxic behavior. Call it what it is, Mr. Let Go. Stop saying childlike, and then also say, I don't know how to deal with that. And that's what I've attracted in my life. I've attracted a lot of women.
I just want to say this one thing. Just remember, regression is a psychological thing that does happen to people who have been through a lot of trauma. So I wouldn't say it's toxic. It's okay to say that, but I think it's just missing what people actually go through when they do get triggered. But if you want to say toxic, it's okay.
That's what you're describing to me. What I hear you say, based on your experience with women, has been toxic.
It's just look up regression. Anybody just Google
I think what you're trying to say is cognitive dissonance.
Yeah,
not regression.
I think we all agree that adults or women can act like children. I think the part we're getting hung up on is treat them like a child, because if we can say when your kid throw a tantrum, do y'all baby them or do you beat their ass? So I mean, if we being
you don't beat their ass, you baby them. You baby your lady, you baby your child.
I beat their ass. What's wrong with you?
You know what I'm saying?
So I'm thinking, you grab your woman, you hug her. Whoever is having a tantrum, you grab them. You don't beat them, you grab them. Woman or child, same thing.
No,
well, kind of like Lady
wrong again.
She made the difference in my head, Lady Di. I was just trying to say, I don't disagree with you, but I think that when you raising boys and raising girls, you have to handle them differently, just like in adult life. You have to understand, I'm a man, this is how I handle my woman, not she's just some little ass girl right now. She ain't like little ass, because you can't identify with how she's choosing to express herself, is my point. It could be slamming the cabins was an extreme, but I was just pointing out the fact that if we saying treat her like a child, what do you do with your child if your child comes slamming the doors in your house? yelling at you, getting in your face.
You
gonna
baby
sit up there and
them.
say
No, you
that-
don't. No,
Something's wrong, and
no.
you gotta attend to them and see what's wrong.
The
You
difference.
don't know what tantrum means. That's actually the person is protesting and there's a problem, and beating them is only making a problem worse. You tend to them, whether it's your woman, whether your child. Something's wrong. They're protesting, slamming cabinets or whatever. It's a protest. They
Can
want
I tend to
attention.
them by beating their ass?
Yeah,
Bro,
eventually.
like now that's
eventually.
toxic.
No, that's not toxic. What you that a child's when kids are children or kids being children, that's a development phase. That's when they're developing. You're teaching them to be adults. And those kids still have to be responsible for themselves as well too. Let go. They can't just do whatever they want to do. But you're teaching them to mature into adults, into healthy adults. So when you're saying a woman is a child, you're releasing her responsibility. When you're telling a kid they can't just be a child either, you're just being understanding of the fact that they are a child, but they're learning behavior to grow into adults. You and we make sure they're responsible and accountable, but you're telling women they don't have to be accountable or responsible, acting like children. That's what you're doing. And you keep making us stay stuck here now. Because no one can't, if you keep saying that, we can't even move on the conversation because you're stuck at saying that women are children. So we just stand right here. We can't we don't have to hold women accountable anymore.
Think about this, Ali. Think about this. Your child, as they're growing up, you want to teach them to be responsible so they can leave you and live on their own.
And be an
when
adult.
you have a woman that you view as your wife, she ain't leaving you and moving on their own. You're always going to be responsible for them. That is the difference.
You don't reward bad behavior, though. That's enabling.
It's not bad behavior.
She's leave you and move on.
No,
why are we allowing Mr. Let Go to hijack this conversation with how he view women instead of us moving on?
My video was the conversation. I am the conversation. Shiba, stop hating.
Oh my! Well, we gonna move
You've been
on.
waiting a long time to say those words.
I want to say something.
Lady Di, go ahead.
If a man, and he ain't the only one I've heard said this, if a man says women act like children, why the hell would you want to act like that? That means that somebody need to make a change. I don't want to act like that. I don't want to be a child. Why is he saying that we're acting like kids? You ask the man, he say, hey, you're doing these things. You're like, cool. Well, I don't want to do that because that is kind of like child. Like we all agree that it's childlike. And then you just changed. I mean, I'm just going to look at it just for a resolution. That's
Lady Di, don't you think the panel has a certain amount of cognitive dissonance, acting like they ain't never seen no woman act like no damn child?
I don't think nobody on the panel said that. We're talking about the treat.
And again, you're using the wrong term. Do you mean reference point? Does the panel not have a reference point? I think that's what you're trying to say.
Y'all are having cognitive dissonance.
We just don't agree with
Look at the bruiser. Bruce like, yo, I'm gonna go to bed on y'all ass.
We just mad because Precious ate you up.